Hello everyone, my name is John Michael Bushman and welcome back to Magic the Gathering. And we are here finally at the end of preview season for the latest set, Aetherdrift. Basically, it's race cars and other stuff. Artifact based. There's basically a fusion of Amonkhet and Kaladesh, although they don't call it Kaladesh now. They call it Avishkar. And there's an entire rigmarole as to how that plane got a name change. It basically involves a couple of racist undertones. You can look it up, and it's really, really fascinating at how they got away with it the first time. But that will not be the topic of this video. Today, I will be looking over all of the comments out of this set. A pretty small number at that. There's only like 96 comments in this set. We're not gonna waste any more time. We're just gonna look over it, starting with a Brightfield Glider. Let's see if they are good for the Pauper format. Did I forget to say that? I definitely did. So we're going to see if any of these cards are good for Pauper, starting with Brightfield Glider. A 1-mana 1/1, already good. With Vigilance, it's a Possum. That's a new creature type. 1-mana 1/1 with Vigilance. Whenever this creature attacks while saddled, it gets +1/+2 and gains flying until end of turn. So I'm just realizing now that some of these creatures are a lot bigger in the art than I thought. But why is it a 1/1 when it's clearly able to support a human on the back? Although, I can only imagine at how unwieldy this creature is to saddle. And saddle, by the way, is a returning mechanic that came from Outlaws at the Junction. And saddle is basically the creature version of crew. And as you can see in an upcoming card here, Broadcast Rambler, there are also artifact vehicles in this set. But we're gonna focus on the glider for now. So if you saddle it with a creature or creatures with the total power of 3, it becomes a 2/3 with flying. One mana 2/3 with vigilance, but you need 3 total power creatures. It seems a little unwieldy for Pauper, but I think this will see some play in draft. Who knows? It's probably not going to, honestly. A 1-mana 1/1 with vigilance, though, it's definitely a really goddamn good blocker. So keep that in mind. But moving right along to Brightfield. I almost said Bright Fear. I don't know why. Brightfield Mustang, a 4-mana 3/3. Whenever this creature attacks while saddled, you untap it and you put +1/+1 counter on it. So it has pseudo vigilance. So there is that. And you only need a creature with 1 power. Hey, you can even use the glider over here to saddle this thing. And then it gains pseudo vigilance. So there is that. A little expensive at 4 mana, especially for Pauper. A lot of things die at that mana value. So this is probably more of a limited bomb. Well, limited card at least. I don't know what bombs are, honestly, all the time, and I almost always get my set reviews wrong, so there is that. Moving right along to Broadcast Rambler, 5 mana. Already you lost me at that. When this vehicle enters, you create a 1/1 Thopter artifact creature token with flying. So literally, the Thopter is the crew that makes the Broadcast Rambler a thing. To keep up with the Grand Prix, reporters train just as hard as the racers themselves. So holy shit, if the reporters need to race alongside the racers, oh my god, this is such a dangerous yet exciting world to be in. But yeah, 5 mana 5/4, it seems a bit expensive, but it literally fuels itself, so this is definitely something for limited. But for Pauper, I am not quite sure about that. Let's move right along to Collision Course, a sorcery. Already you lost me. But it has modes, and it's probably one of no. White cards have always destroyed either artifacts or enchantments, so yeah, it's not exactly out of its color pipe. So there is that. Although green does that too, but it does have another mode where it deals X damage to target creature, where X is the number of permanents you control that are creatures and/or vehicles. Creatures and or vehicles, so it's potentially a one-shot sorcery, but it's sorcery, a little slow, so probably more for limited, definitely not for constructed. Let's move right along to a Daring Mechanic, a 3-mana 3/3, pretty decent stats, and it's a mana sink where you put a +1/+1 counter on target mount or vehicle. Definitely support more for the vehicle artifact creature archetype in the draft, but for Pauper, highly likely no. Moving right along to Interface Ace, a 2-mana 0/4. Okay, that's a pretty big booty. Then it's a robot pilot. WotC is getting really creative with these creature types these days. And then this creature saddles mounts and cruise vehicles using toughness rather than its power. So we are getting a huge upgrade over the Ox that was in Kaldheim, where it has 6 toughness. So but this only has 4, so it can't exactly crew everything, but it can crew most things. And then when this creature becomes tapped during your turn, you untap it, and this triggers only once each turn, so you can crew 2 things with the interface Ace. It's a robot, so it can definitely indeed do that. And to the I was gonna say to the guide. Oh my god, to the guide light voyagers, a vehicle is just another hardware upgrade. Hell freaking yeah. Moving right along to Leonin Surveyor, a 2-mana 2/2, pretty decent stats and for the mana cost, and it has Start Your Engines, which is a mechanic that is exclusive to Aetherdrift, and will probably only be in Aetherdrift. If you have no speed, it starts at 1, so and it will keep increasing every time your opponent loses life, but you only gain 1 whenever your opponent loses said life. And the maximum speed is 4. And once you reach 4 speed, you unlock a lot of other stuff that max speed does. And for the Cat Scout in particular, you exile it from the graveyard and then you draw a card. And then, of course, it has the text, if it's your turn, this creature has first strike. 2-mana 2/2 with first strike definitely gets through a lot of the early game blockers, and it's also really good in combat. If you have combat tricks, literally right here, it gives +2/+2. Apart from that, it's a decent card for limited, I guess, but I don't know if I can see this seeing play in Pauper. And then I'm also realizing that the mountain goat that the Cat Scout is riding on is far larger than it seems. Like, Jesus Christ. And you can see here in the background, there's the racetrack right there, but then in the foreground here, like the main character of the card here, the Leonin Surveyor is definitely this guy right here, but his mount is insanely huge. Like, mountain goats I don't even know if mountain goats can reach that big in real life, but good god, man, I would want to pet that thing. I don't know why I want to pet that thing. Let's just move right along to Light Shield Parry, a battle trick in white, obligatory battle tricks in white for the common slot here, and it gets +2/+2. I mean, yeah, what more could you want? And it cycles if you don't need it. So, yeah. The Quick Beast's diet of ether makes them capable of astonishing maneuvers. Oh, wow. Ether Beasts. Okay. I really do need to catch up on the lore of the recent stuff. And they have said that the lore writing has gotten a lot better ever since the basically they shuffled stuff around when it comes to writing the stories for the upcoming sets. So I definitely need to get back into that. Otherwise, I'm just going to ask my friends who are way more entrenched than I am these days when it comes to Magic lore. But let's just move right along before I get any sadder. Let's see Light Wheel Enchantments, a 1-mana enchantment aura, and this is a card that I've been hearing a lot of hubbub about that will see experimentation at the very least in competitive decks, because here's what it does. Because the enchanted permanent gets +1/+1 and has vigilance, and it has max speed where you can cast this thing from the graveyard. So definitely Bogle's style strategies will want to use this thing because it's infinitely recurable. I don't know if it will be powerful enough to replace the Ophidian Eye from the Theros Beyond Death set, because you can also cast that from the graveyard, but it has escape rather than just Light Wheel enchantments. But I believe it's a little slower, maybe 1 to 2 turns slower, because you need to get to max speed first. So you need 4 turns of setup in order to make this thing, just infinitely recurable from the graveyard. But on the plus side, this thing enchants a creature or a vehicle. So if you're not playing Pauper, you can use this on vehicles instead, because a lot of the good vehicles are in higher rarities. But for Pauper, you're mostly targeting the creatures. It will definitely see experimentation. I can definitely see Bogle's players just using this just as a maybe 2-of, because it's recurable out of the graveyard, and they have ways to search auras anyway. So yeah, definitely keep an eye out for this one. Up next, we have Lotus Guard Disciple, a 3-mana 2/2 with flying. When this creature enters, target creature or vehicle gets That's lifelink and indestructible until end of turn. No one dies under my watch. That is literally an Overwatch quote. Oh my god. Definitely more for limited. I do not see this seeing play in other formats. So let's move right along to Ride's End, a 5 mana instant, but it costs 3 to cast if it targets a tap permanent. Obligatory exile a thing if it's tapped for mono white. Holy shit, they will never change now, won't they? Oh my god. More for limited. Probably not seeing constructed play. Moving right along to Spot Cycle Scouter, a 2 mana 3/2. This is definitely most definitely the Tron reference. Oh my god. There's an Akira reference and then there's a Tron reference. This is definitely the speeder bikes from Tron. When this vehicle enters, you just scry 2, and it's in mono white and it has crew 1. So it's an artifact, and only when it enters you scry 2. Holy fucking shit. This might even see more play than the Light Will enchantments. Just get this in and out of the graveyard. Scry 2, fix your draws every goddamn time. Why does Affinity keep getting these toys? Got Swiftwing Assailant, a 4 mana 3/3 with flying, and it has a max speed mechanic where it gets +0/+1 and has vigilance. Skip this. Moving right along to Voyager Quick Wheeler, a 3 mana 2/4, where it reduces the cost of artifact spells by 1. So we haven't had one of these in a while, and it's usually in blue. So seeing this in white definitely will make you lean towards more the blue-white side of things for limited. But for Pauper, I mean, I have seen my fair share of discount creatures that pop up here and there. But the fact that this is an artifact creature, I can definitely see this seeing play because artifact just cannot stop getting new toys for the format. Up next, we have Bounce Off, where it's an instant, and then it's an unsummon. But you don't just target creatures, you also target vehicles. And definitely, wow, the effect is pretty like mediocre, but I am more interested in the flavor text. Control loss is adventure gain. That's a keel hauler proverb. Oh my god, what the hell are the keel haulers? Are they like the people who are specific to this plane? And there's also the Guidelight Voyagers as seen here in the Voyager Quick Welder rather. So yeah, I am definitely going to need to look up on the lore on this one because this is getting more interesting by the second. Then moving right along to Flood the Engine, a 3 mana aura. So this is I'm just glancing over the text. This seems to be like the obligatory 3 mana blue spell that taps something down and does not untap. And then this also makes the thing lose abilities. Yep, definitely. That's definitely what this thing is doing. But unlike most effects like this where it's double blue, this one is only a 2 colorless cost. So it's cheaper at that. And yeah, I mean, this is definitely a limited thing. I can definitely see this seeing experimentation in Pauper, but stuff like this don't usually have a lot of staying power in Pauper because removal in the format right now and has been for a while very efficient, thanks in no small part to downshifts brought in by the master sets and also of course Modern Horizons. So let's move right along to definitely one of the more exciting reprints out of this set, the Gear Seeker Serpent. 7 mana 5/6, but you're not casting this for the normal cost because this thing has affinity for artifacts. And it has a mana sink ability where it cannot be blocked this turn, so this is a win con for a lot of artifacts based decks. And yeah, they use this as a 2 mana 5/6 for good reason. And seeing this finally get a reprint is definitely an exciting thing for a lot of affinity players. Sadly, I am not one of them. I am an elves player. Let's move right along to Glitch Ghost Surveyor. So somebody got lost from Duskmorn. 3 mana 2/2 with flying, and its max speed is you exile the card from the graveyard and then you draw a card. So similar to the Leonin Surveyor. So I'm guessing this is a cycle of surveyors that are in this set. And they have a max speed thing. And yeah, I mean, it's a 3 mana 2/2 with flying. Probably will see play in limited, but highly likely not for Pauper. Moving right along to Guidelight Optimizer, a 2 mana 2/1, and it's a mana dork for artifacts or activating abilities of said artifacts, I believe. Am I reading this right? I don't think so. Yeah, no. Oh my god, it only it pays to activate abilities, any ability at that. Holy shit, this is a pretty damn good robot at that. Analysis: systems operating at 125% efficiency, stress within expected tolerances, exclamatory, punch it. That's probably a command that its creator programmed into it. And I'm just realizing the guide lights are the robots. The guidelight voyagers are the robots. Holy shit. Let's move right along to Howler's Heavy. It's a seal? Is this where they make seals a creature type? Holy shit, this is completely, and this is, I believe, oh my god, I am forgetting what kind of seal this thing is, but it's one of my favorite variations of a seal. It's closer to a walrus because they are huge, and then when they make this sound, it's like a bellowing sound of sorts. But and the fun thing about this is, of course, as obvious here in the art, they're really big. They're big boys and girls. And if you don't need this guy, you can just cycle it for 2 mana. And then when you cycle this card, target creature or vehicle and opponent controls gets -3/-0 until end of turn. You are definitely using this for the cycle ability rather than casting this guy, because otherwise he's just a 4-mana 3/4 vanilla. So let's move right along to Hull fucking Drifter. Oh, you scared me for a second there. What's it? Oh my god. I thought you brought like null drifter into standard. Like, Jesus Christ, man. Holy shit, you scared me for a second there. But yeah, when the vehicle enters, you draw 2 cards and then you crew it by giving it 3. Holy fucking shit, they brought something back to standard and they turned it into a fucking robot. Oh my god, I love it so much. Yeah, and I love the fact that they have a border for vehicles. It's cool to see. But yeah, 5 mana draw 2. I mean, people have paid more for even more. So I can definitely see the seeing play in standard simply because of the blank drifter in the name. It's a very well-loved card both in Pauper and in a lot of other formats. So I can definitely see the seeing play, not even for competitive purposes, but simply for the fact that people love this quote-unquote archetype of cards so much. Up next, we have Keen Buccaneer, a 3-mana 2/3 with Vigilance, and it has Exhaust, which is a new mechanic, and it's basically Exert, but you don't have to go into combat. It's an activatable Exert, if that explains it. And you can only activate it once, so if you blink it, it's a new body, but although I will have to look up on that because that's how it seems to work. But otherwise, if you activate its Exhaust, you draw a card, you then discard a card, and then you put a +1/+1 counter on it, so it becomes a 3-mana 3/4, and then it has Vigilance, so it's an octopus pirate. Holy crap, huh? The secret to good pirating is being ready for anything. That and having 8 arms. Oh, wait. Let me take a closer look at your art, my boy. You definitely have 2 humanoid arms here, but you have your other tentacles here that are going to do the thing. These are pirate hooks. Okay, good. I don't know where your other arms are, sir, so I would love to know where your other arms are. But otherwise, yeah, you probably have 8 arms. They're hiding somewhere in your coat, so kudos to the artist for that. Mirko Filoni, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. But otherwise, the card probably will see jank play in some EDH deck somewhere. Up next, we have Midnight Mangler, a 2-mana 3/3. During turns other than yours, this vehicle is an artifact creature, and it has crew 2. Is someone asleep at the wheel, or the wheels just gonna be the wheels just driving themselves? Somebody got lost from Duskmorn again, and from the impression that I'm getting, at least from the snippets of the story that I have heard of, I haven't read anything. Aetherdrift is a multi-planar event that people have organized as a way to, have a break from the Phyrexian and multiversal invasion that happened, and people who just want to break from all of the shit that has been happening in the world. So yeah, this is definitely why a lot of stuff is lost from other planes somewhere, like from the design here in Nimblethopterus here. And both of these cards, by the way, will likely not see play. Well, probably this one more than this guy. But otherwise, yeah, there's a reason why there are so many like design clashes within the set, because these are all like from different planes. And Midnight Mangler, obviously from Duskmorn, because a lot of stuff from Duskmorn has this ghostly, ethereal, glitchy effect to it. And then the ones from Avishkar, how they call Kaladesh these days, they have these golden highlights that are very common among all of the Avishkar vehicles there. So, but apart from that, yeah, we'll probably not see play in Pauper, these two. Moving right along to Sky Streak Engineer, a human pilot, a 2-mana 1/3 with exhaust, and you put 2+1/+1 counters on this creature. So it's a mana sink in the late game. It becomes a 3/5. Yeah, it becomes a 3/5 with flying, so it can definitely finish games off. It avoids a lot of the ground blockers. If you have spare mana lying around during your draft, this is definitely going to be a pick and a half, but otherwise, definitely not for Pauper. Up next, we have Spectral Interference, a 2-mana counterspell, unless you pay for, and this counters artifacts and creature spells. Probably no. Definitely no. There are far more efficient counterspells in Pauper, and this is definitely not going to see the top of the list. Up next, we have Stall Out, a sorcery that stuns a creature for 3 turns. It also stuns vehicles, and if you don't need it, you just put 2 mana into it, and then you just draw another card with cycling. And there's no flavor text on this, so I can only imagine what the flavor text of this thing is, because look at all that goop all over that card. Jesus Christ, what did you put in that thing? Up next, we have Trip Up, a 4-mana instant where your target non-land permanent's owner puts it on their choice. What? Puts it on their choice of the top or bottom of their library. They could have worded that a lot better. Good God. And then if you don't need it, you just cycle it for 2. So cycling is a big theme out of this set. Jesus Christ, I did not realize it was that prevalent. But yeah, this is definitely the best effect of the these Fate Seal style removal spells, because this one has cycling, and if you don't need it, yeah, just throw it away, draw another card. Definitely good for limited if you don't need it, but for Pauper, I mean, I have been wrong before, because there's that 4-mana spell from the Modern Horizon set that is currently seeing play in mono blue shells, and this may or may not replace it simply because it has cycling. So definitely keep an eye out for this one in particular. Moving right along, we now are at the black cards, and we're blazing through this real quick. We have Chitin Gravestalker, a 6-mana 5/4. This will cost 1 less to cast for each artifact and/or creature card in your graveyard. So for the Golgari lovers out there in Pauper, this is definitely going to see play there. But I can definitely see this. I don't. You know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, it might see play even in elves, because I have been tinkering around with basically an amalgamation of a lot of the winning decks that I see on Magic Online, and it has the solid core is there, 4 of certain cards, 4 of certain other cards, and then there are a few flex spots here and there. But Chitin Gravestalker, it might actually be in consideration, because if you don't need it, you can just cycle it away, and then if you need it, you have a vanilla 5/4. Yeah, but would you rather just cycle this away and then reanimate it later in a reanimator deck? I mean, reanimator has literally seen 0 play since Cast Down has been printed, and good God, man, Cast Down has killed that archetype like dead into the ground. It'll never have any chance of coming back. I miss my boy Ulamog's Crusher so much. But the best deck in the format, at least at the time of me recording this video, is Gruul Eldrazi. And I use the word Eldrazi there in quotation marks, because there's only really one Eldrazi in that deck, and you know what it is if you've been playing Pauper for the last like 2 years. So there is that. But otherwise, for Chitin Gravestalker, we'll probably see experimentation here and there, but I'm not going to hold out my hopes for it. Up next, we have Deathless Pilot, a 2-mana 2/2, where it saddles, mounts, and crews vehicles as though its power were 2 or greater. So it's a 4, but only if the vehicles need that. So it can crew 1 vehicle or saddle a creature all by itself, and then it returns from your graveyard to your hand. So it's infinitely recurable. I mean, he is deathless, and Amonkhet champions become markedly more reckless after dying, because they will just keep on coming back. Yep, I am right that this is a combination of both Avishkar and Amonkhet. So there is that. And again, there's also like the thing about this entire set being a multi-planar racing event where everybody from everywhere is invited. So there is that. But we're gonna move right along to Engine Rat. Oh dear God, that thing is gonna die. 1 mana 1/1 with Death Touch, and has a mana sink of each opponent losing 2 life. Definitely a mana sink that will see play in EDH decks that can support it for years to come. But otherwise, probably not for Pauper. But Death Touch as a blocker is annoying in limited. Up next, we have Grim Bobble, and this is a card that a lot, and I mean a lot of people are excited for, because Affinity just can't stop fucking getting new toys. And this is infinitely recoverable because it's dead weight that you can get in and out of the graveyard, because again, Affinity just cannot stop getting new fucking toys. And then you can just sacrifice it, then you Surveil 2, adding even more stuff to the graveyard, because Affinity just can't keep getting new fucking toys. Let's just move on to the next one. Up next, we have Grim Javelineer, which is a 3-mana 3/2. Whenever you attack, target attacking creature gets +1/+0. When that creature dies, you Surveil 1. Ooh, so this is a death-ish trigger payoff-ish. I don't know, but it's something. I mean, you gain a small bit of advantage when that creature dies. You know, the one that you gave attack. Wait, that's just bolster. She's literally using the bolster mechanic. Oh my god. Although, let's read the flavor text. Ketty lost everything to the Eternals and the Phyrexians. What she gained was an intimate knowledge of death in its myriad forms. So the character in this art is named Ketty. I wonder if we have a card for her here in this set. I'll look that up in a bit. But for now, Grim Javelineer probably will not see play in Pauper, because 3-mana 3/2, it dies to a lot of stuff. I mean, a lot of stuff dies to a lot of stuff in Pauper. But because it's a little slow, because you need the Javelineer to attack. No. You don't need her to attack, but at least something has to attack, so it relies on you having creatures on board, so probably will not see play. Although in EDH, in Commander, this will definitely see play somewhere, especially if you're of the budget-minded type. Up next, we have Maximum Overdrive! Yeah, this is definitely a movie poster if I ever saw one. You put a +1/+1 counter on target creature against Death Touch and indestructible until end of turn. Compared to the Fuel Roars on Gastal, this Grand Prix is a thrilling vacation. I almost said thrilling. I don't know why. Oh my god. This is definitely a Mad Max reference because of what's happening in the art here. You know, and or this is a cover of a video game. I'm pretty sure there's a video game that has energy similar to this, to this piece of art. And these are the Guideline Voyagers jumping onto. I believe these are the what are they called? The keel haulers. But I'll get to that when I get to that. Jesus Christ. This is wild art. I love it so much. But let's just move right along to Mutant Surveyor, a 3-mana 2/3 with max speed. And then, okay, so similar to the other Surveyors, but what is his unique ability where, as a mana sink, it gets +1/+1 till end turn? Okay, that is interesting. So this is definitely something for limited, but for Pauper, highly likely no, sadly. You're only really using this for the exile part, and then if you don't have anything else to do. But otherwise, yeah, if you have spare mana lying around in limited, this is definitely your guy. But otherwise in Pauper, definitely no. Up next, we have Pact Doll Terror. That is such a hard name to say. A 4-mana 3/4. Whenever this creature or another artifact creature you control enters, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. So this is a finisher for fucking Affinity decks. Why can't Affinity stop getting new fucking toys? I don't fucking know why. I am going to skip on this one because I'm going to have a fucking aneurysm. Next, we have Ripclaw Wrangler, a 4-mana 4/3. When this vehicle enters, each opponent discards a card. A bit expensive at 4 mana. And the stats are decent, but again, if it were like 3 mana, I would accept it a little more. But the art on this thing is insane, like Jesus Christ. By the time Shantanu heard the End Riders chanting, "The Claw," he was already in its grasp. Oh my god. There are even factions. There are factions of people in here. Good god. So are the End Riders like these freaky ghost Duskmorn coded riders here? Good god. Okay then. Or they're like the Mad Max people of in the whatever this plane is. But it's already been like hinted that there are like people from all over like the multiverse here, because these are definitely from Avishkar. This is likely from especially with the Glitch Ghost Surveyor, this is definitely from Duskmorn. So there is that. I don't know where the keel haulers are from, but I guess I'll need to read the story now. So there is that. But going back to Ripclaw Wrangler, no, just no. Okay. Moving right along to Risky Shortcut. The long line of sorcery speed, 3 mana, draw 2, lose 2 for black. keeps on going. Too bad that this isn't exactly an instant, so, and it would have been a lot better that way. But again, 3 mana, draw 2, lose 2 for black. Definitely a welcome addition, no matter what it is. But for Pauper, probably no. Then up next we have Spin Out, because they can't put Murder in the set because they just put it in Duskmourn. This destroys a creature or vehicle, so this is artifact removal for black. That is insane, but it's extremely narrow artifact removal. So it's a half a point. So there is that. Good sportsmanship wins the record. Bad sportsmanship wins the race. Oh god, that is. Oh, now I'm just realizing this is scary ass art. She is going to fall to her freaking death, and we will never see her again. Well, I 07's to you, girl. 07's to you. Up next, we have Streaking Oil Gorger. That is an extremely unfortunate name. 5 mana 3/3 with flying and haste, and then if you have max speed, this creature will have a lifelink. For 5 mana for 3/3, already a bit much. It has haste though, so it can attack immediately when it enters. And then if you have max speed, you have lifelink, and then a bit slow, unfortunately. Just pass on this one. Let's move on. Up next, we have Siphon Fuel, a 5 mana instant where target creature gets -6/6 until end of turn, and then you gain 2 life. After years of hunger, the oil-thirsting vampires of Gastal have finally had their fill. That's Phyrexian stuff. That's Phyrexian oil. Why are you drinking Phyrexian oil? I'm just realizing the name Gastal. It's right there. It's on the nose. Oh my fucking god. But 5 mana to give a creature -6/6. I mean, it gets by indestructibility, so there is that. But otherwise, probably no. Up next, we have Wreckage Wickerfolk, a 2 mana 1/3 with flying, and then when the creature enters, Surveil 2. It doesn't seem like much until you realize it's an artifact creature, and then you add blue into this, and then you have a whole host of shenanigans that you can do with a lot of artifact-based stuff. And then you add red, and then fucking Affinity keeps getting more fucking toys. I am going to skip this one because I'm going to have a fucking aneurysm again. Up next, we have Burner Rocket, a wow, that's an ability and a half. A 2 mana 3/1 with flash, and then when this vehicle enters target creature you control, gets +2/+0 and gains trample until end of turn. So this guy will die. No doubt about it, because a goblin is piloting it, so there is that. But yeah, it's a battle trick in red, yes, but it comes in the form of a creature. So this is like efficiency levels of insane here. Good god. I mean, you could experiment with it, but probably will not see too far of usage. Moving right on to the next one, we have Clamorous Ironclad, a 4 mana 6/3, so pretty goddamn big, with Menace and Crew 3, and then it has Cycling as well. Sad that they weren't able to fit the flavor text, because what the actual fuck is going on with that card? Are those crabs? Those are crabs, aren't they? Oh my fucking god, they are indeed crabs. Holy shit. Let's just move on to the next one before I start asking too many questions. Up next, we have Crash and Burn, a 4 mana instant, where you choose one, you either destroy a vehicle or deal 6 damage to target creature or planeswalker. Just no. Just no. Although I am seeing the art here, and it's reminiscent of the pod racers from Star Wars, but there's an Amonkhet pyramid like way in the far background. Hold on. Redshift told his team to destroy the competition. They were thrilled to discover that he meant it literally. Well, yeah, it's definitely a pod racer reference. Oh my god. Given that there's a design here that is reminiscent of the pod racers from Star Wars, or either that or they toss something. I'm guessing like this is the projectile that came from this slingshot thing, so it's probably more of a Mad Max reference rather than a Star Wars reference, or just some random destruction derby style thing that I am not too familiar with, sadly. But otherwise, 4 mana for this effect probably will not see play anywhere. Up next, we have Dynamite Diver, a 1 mana 1/1 already. It's a goblin pilot, and he is going to dive to his fucking death. When this creature saddles, mounts, or cruise vehicles, okay, and then when it dies, 1 damage to any target. It doesn't have haste, so that's already minus a lot of points out of its book, and we're just gonna move right on to the next one with Endrider Catalyzer, a 2 mana 3/1 with max speed, where it becomes a mana dork. A little slow at that, sir, and by the time you're going to have the ability to make mana, it's probably already dead. Moving right along to the next one. We have Gastal Blockbuster, a 3 mana 3/2. When a creature enters, you may sacrifice a creature or vehicle. When you do, destroy a target artifact an opponent controls. So you destroy one of your things to destroy your opponent's thing. I can definitely see this seeing play somewhere in a lot of commander decks. But for Pauper, probably maybe. It's a humans, it's not an artifact, and affinity decks love their artifacts. So likely no, but keep an eye out for this one for your EDH decks moving forward. Next, we have Gilded Goda, a 2 mana 2/2, where when this creature attacks while saddled, you create a treasure token. Ooh! This is low on the curve. It can be very aggressive for the decks that need it, and Mono Red is a pretty damn good deck in Standard right now. And Gilded Goda will definitely see play somewhere within that shell. I just don't know where though, because creating treasure tokens in particular rather, is going to be quite the boost. And saddle one, so you don't really need to have too much of a setup in order to make this thing give you the treasure tokens that you need. So yeah, definitely a plus in my book. Keep an eye out for this one. Moving forward. Up next, we have Goblin Surveyor, a 3 mana 3/2, so similar to the other surveyors. And but this guy, his special ability is a trample. And I'm just realizing the goblins in this plane have white hair. Huh. Yeah, like here, look in Pedal to the Metal, white hair. Goblin Surveyor, white hair. Dynamite Diver, white hair. Burner Rocket, white hair. I don't think there are any goblins up in the other colors. Yeah, no goblins up there, but the goblins here, they have white hair. And the Prow Catcher? I'm pretty sure it's Prowcatcher. She definitely dyed her hair red there, or he, I don't know. Hard to tell. It's the shot's pretty far off, so it's hard to tell. But otherwise, yeah. Going back to the Goblin Surveyor here. This thing about I like about WotC is they try to redesign the goblins for every plane, and I guess the unique design for whatever plane we're on for Aetherdrift, the goblins have white hair. And they're even like sideburns and like these short tufts of hair, like full heads of hair, like goblins are very hair. Good God. But for Pauper, probably will not see play, sadly. Up next, we have Kick Off the Celebrations. I mean, I added the word "the" there, but yeah. Chandra, front and center here. Please, Nissa, show up somewhere. We miss you. You just got back with your girl here. Come on. Oh my God. Kickoff celebrations. 2 mana enchantment, and its max speed is you sacrifice the enchantment, and then creatures and vehicles you control gain haste until end of turn. So this is definitely a finisher and a half. But when it enters, you may discard a card, and if you do, draw 2 cards. So yeah, this is definitely something that you can build up to. But otherwise, we'll probably only see play in very, very niche commander decks. But for other 6-card formats, probably no. Coming up next, we have Lightning Strike. Always good to see a reprint like this, and the art is really goddamn funny at that. It's not quite as simple as point and boom, but if you must summarize, and oh my God, it's attributed to Deretti. Oh, I forgot that Deretti is in this set. Oh boy, good to see the good goblin. I'm pretty sure he was a politician, and then he became an iconoclast because he got too fed up with how the government was. It's an entire story that you guys just have to read. Deretti's like rise and fall from grace is insane, and you guys have to read it. It's a damn good roller coaster ride. But let's move on to the next one. Next, we have Magmican Artillerist. Good God, the words in this set. 3 mana 1/4. Whenever you discard one or more cards, this creature deals that much damage to each opponent. When you cycle this card, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. So, Cycle Storm deck is already a thing in Pauper, but it's a pretty niche, well, not really niche, more of a fringe combo deck. And this guy is just another another piece in that deck, but I'm not sure if they'll even need this. Because if I remember correctly, they already have another one of this, and it's already something on the field. I don't know if it's a 3 mana creature or if it's 2 mana. But if it's 2 mana, then they'll just add this as a backup plan in case the other one gets destroyed. But by the time you're like cycle storming anyway, you're going to have enough fuel to do your thing anyway. So who the hell knows if they'll even adopt this guy? But it's something to keep an eye on moving forward. Up next, we have Pedal to the Metal, and target creature gets plus X plus O and gains first strike until end of turn, and it's a combat trick. And then you sink a huge amount of mana into this, and then you win just one combat. Probably no. Up next, we have Prowcatcher Specialist, a 2-mana 2/1 with haste. Ooh, and then it has exhaust. You put 2+1/+1 counters on this creature. That is extremely aggressive. Holy shit, I like this card a lot. And it's a goblin. So for all of your goblin synergies out there, good god, holy shit, this is a damn good card. I can definitely see this seeing play in mono red, but 2 mana is a bit much because a lot of the creatures in the mono red shells in Pauper require the creatures to only be 1 mana. Monastery Swiftsphere broke a lot of people's minds when it was finally downshifted to common, and and a lot of my friends were even like joking about it 6 to 8 months before it was revealed. So Monastery Swiftspear has been banned for the sins that it has committed. So this is a lot safer for that regard. But otherwise, yeah, a mana sink, definitely will see experimentation, but probably not long-term viability. Up next, we have Thunderhead Gunner, a 5-mana 4/5, and it's a killer whale, and it's a keel hauler. Fire the cannon, mates, fire it quick. The sea's full of chum, and we wanna make our pick. Oh my god, it's a shanty song. Hey, that's really nice. And then it has an oh boo! I thought it was an unbound discard outlet. Nope, it's literally says right there, activate only as a sorcery and only once each turn. Boo. Also, this guy wins the This Thing Has Reach award. Why does this guy have reach? Let's move on to the next one. Up next, we have Alacrian Jaguar, a 5-mana 4/4 with Vigilance. Whenever this creature attacks while saddled, gets +2/+2 until end of turn. So the buff isn't even permanent, but you only need 1 power worth of creatures in order to make this guy work. But otherwise, 5 mana is a bit much. Green can only do so much, and then there are it's competing in with space with a lot of other 5-drops in the Pauper format. So probably more for limited, but even then, it's not a high pick at all. Up next, we have Beast Rider Vanguard, a 2-mana 2/2, and then with a mana sink of looking at the top 3 cards of your library, and then you get a permanent card, you put it into your hand, you put the rest at the bottom. Yeah, definitely stuff like this will see play somewhere. I just don't know in what quantities. Mana sink abilities that filter through your deck are always welcome in a lot of slower decks in Pauper, but they don't tend to stay too long. Sadly, as good as the effects are, they sadly don't stay for too long in those types of shells. And then the flavor text, she knows what I'm thinking before I do. That's what true partnership means. Oh, this guy's from Ikoria. Holy crap! And it's a dog eagle. I'm just realizing. Yeah, because that's a snout of a canine, but it has wings, so it's definitely an Icorian beast. So there is that. But then up next here we have Bestow Greatness to a target creature getting +4/+4 and trouble in the turn. This card is going to get a lot of hype simply because we have a giant corgi. That's all you need to know. It's a giant corgi. Buy this in foil. If it has an alt art, please buy it. It's a fucking corgi. It's a giant corgi at that. You're gonna buy it simply because it's a giant corgi. Take these broken wings. We're moving on. Up next, we have Hazard of the Dunes, a 4-mana 4/4 with Trample and Reach. I can understand why this guy has Reach because this is this is the Dune Worm from Dune. What the fuck? Oh my fucking god, it's huge. I can understand why it has Reach because look at the size of this thing. Look at it in comparison to the cars, and look at its entire body. Good god. And then it has Exhaust for 7 mana, but I don't fucking care. I'm horrified of this thing. It's aggravating that nature can build better hazards than I ever could. Thurman, that is not how you should... Oh my fucking god. Thurman, that is not a good way to look at things. But for Pauper, sadly, no. This won't see play. It's a little too much. Probably more for limited, sadly. Up next, we have Gibberic Omnivore, a 2-mana 3/2 vanilla. I mean, yeah. Roadkill takes on an entirely different meaning when the beast you crash into is more likely to kill you. Oh. So this guy has, oh. I do not want to know what happened to the previous pilot of that vehicle right there. Let's just move on to the next one. Up next, we have Loxodon Surveyor, a 3-mana 3/3, and another one of those surveyors. What does he have? Nothing. It's just a vanilla with the Surveyor ability. No! Pass. Next, we have Migrating Catrodon, a 6 mana 6/6 with reach. When this creature enters, you gain 6 life. We'll probably see play somewhere, but I am not quite sure how often. Let's move on to the next one. We have Pothole Mole. We're getting a lot more moles lately in this game. Good God. 3 mana 2/3. When this creature enters, mill 3 cards. Ooh, I would love that in my deck. For my Golgari deck in particular, that loves stuff in the graveyard. So there is that. Then you may turn a land card from your graveyard to your hand. It doesn't even have to be the 3 cards that you put in your graveyard that turn, or rather with this guy's effect. So there is that. So yeah, keep it in mind for your commander decks moving forward, but otherwise probably not for Pauper, but it is a creature, and creature synergies are far more plentiful than there are for other archetypes, so there is that. Let's move right along to Run Over. This costs 1 less to cast. If it targets amount or vehicle you control, it will deal damage equal to its power to target creature an opponent controls. So it's a ram through without the excess damage thing. But yeah, more for a removal tool for the decks that don't generally have it. Usually in Gruul, because your creatures are going to be the ones that are doing the most amount of damage compared to your spells, and this is definitely something to keep in mind moving forward. Up next, we have Silken Strength, a 2 mana aura with flash. Ooh. And then it untaps an enchanted permanent. Oh dear God, more fuel for Marwyn decks. And then enchanted permanent has +1/+2 and reach. So the additional power is already like decent enough, but even giving it a bigger booty, good God, man. So Marwyn players are going to be pretty happy with this one, and I know a few, and they're going to want to have this card in their decks. But for Pauper, probably no. It gives your Bogles pseudo vigilance. I am not quite sure where else it's going to see play, but yeah, just Bogles and Marwyn. So there is that. Moving right along to Stampeding Scurryfoot, a 1 mana 1/1, and it has a mouse that's like pogging out. Like, look at that face. That guy is pogging the fuck out while riding the tusk of this I'm not sure if it's a Loxodon or an elephant. All creatures, great and small, contribute to the stampede. Oh dear God, I do not like what it's implying, but I'm not even going to read the ability because that is a little too slow for my taste. So let's move right along to the next one with Veloheart Bike, 3 mana. I almost had 4 mana. A 3 mana 4/2. When this vehicle enters, you gain 2 life, and then it's a mana dork. No. Definitely not even per Pauper. A little slow. In fact, it's not even a little. It's way too slow. So let's move on to the next one with a Venom Sac Lagak. A 2 mana 2/1 with Death Touch, and when this creature attacks while saddled, you get +0 until end of turn. No, Death Touch makes it a viable blocker for limited, but otherwise, probably not for Pauper. Next, we have the artifacts now, and I'm guessing there's going to be a plethora of them here. Yeah, and then a bunch of other non-basic lands. So let's move on right on to the artifacts. We have Ether Jacket, a 3 mana 2/1 with Flying and Vigilance, and then you sacrifice this creature, you destroy the target artifact, but you only activate it as a sorcery. The Sting Strike model saved thousands of lives during the invasion and quickly became a bestseller for Shadowblade Craftworks. Ooh, there are so many factions like within Aetherdrift. Good God, I really want to read up on the lore for it now. But yeah, 3 mana 2/1, a bit expensive for my books. I don't know if affinity players are gonna want this because their removal options are already like way better. So this is probably more for limited, or hell, maybe even standard, but even then, I am not quite sure where this will fit in. So let's just skip it and move on to the next one with Camera Launcher. Why are you doing that? I guess it's for the drones that have the cameras. But yeah, 3 mana 2/2 with Exhaust, and then you put a +1/+1 counter on this creature, and then you create a Thopter, and then you unactivate it once. So there is that, and again, Exhaust is basically Exert, but as an activated ability. And you don't need to attack as you exhaust. You can just do it as a sorcery. So there's that. Or is it only during your turn because it has activated sorcery? I think it's only has this like parentheses of activate only once. So there is that. But yeah, only activate only once. So yeah. Not even activate as a sorcery, just activate it once, and then you're good to go. So there is that. But otherwise, for this guy, Camera Launcher, probably no. Vinwick's contract demanded at least one dedicated camera on him at all times. All right, he's like the host of Aetherdrift, and there has been speculation that Vinwick's and I think that's how you pronounce his name, Vinwick's, because Fibbletip is it's how you make a raspberry sound, you know, like the If you guys even heard that, like that. So Vinwix is vroom, like that as you rev up an engine, or I think it's more stepping on the gas. You go vroom. That's how his name comes about. So there is that. So there are now two legendary homunculi within Magic the Gathering, and they're both onomatopoeias of sounds that are surprisingly easy to do with the mouth. So there is that. But otherwise, I keep going on tangents with Camera Launcher here, but probably not C-Play. Let's move on to the next one. Up next, we have Guidelight Matrix, a 2-mana artifact. When it enters, you draw a card. I don't even need to read the fucking rest of the text. This is going to go in all artifact decks moving forward, simply because it draws one fucking card. Although it's going to be very hard to replace Ichor Wellspring, because that thing draws a card when it enters or leaves the battlefield. I am going to skip this card because I'm going to have another fucking aneurysm because Affinity keeps getting new fucking toys. Next, we have Scrap Compactor, a 1-mana artifact. And then for 3 mana, you sacrifice this artifact, deal 3 damage to target creature, or you sink 6 mana into it to instead destroy that same creature. A bit much, but this is... Oh my fuck. Am I going to get another aneurysm again because Affinity keeps getting new fucking toys? You know what? I'm done for this guy. Let's move on to the next one. We have Skybox Ferry, a 5-mana 4/4 that's basically a vanilla. Huh. It could have benefited this thing have flavor text, but I guess the feeling of seeing people just observing the race down below them, and if you can actually see an explosion happen in the racetrack at the moment that this photo was captured, oh my god. They're definitely enjoying the view, all right. But for Pauper, probably will not see play. Moving right along to the starting column. So I believe this is where this is where everything begins. So there is that. 10 dreams, 10 teams, 1 winner. I think that's good enough. Commander Sphere has been, and I believe it already has, rather, fallen out of favor in Commander because card draw has become so much more efficient these days. But I can definitely see this seeing play over Commander Sphere when this set finally comes out, simply because it draws deeper, and it also filters stuff through your deck. So I can definitely see this being in more Commander decks moving forward, simply because it draws 2 cards. And then if you don't need it for the card draw, you might as well just keep it as a 3-mana mono rock. So there is that. And keep this in mind for EDH decks, but for Pauper, sadly, no. Up next, we have Tick a Tortoise, a 2-mana 3/1 with Defender. When his creature enters, if an opponent controls more lands than you create a treasure token. So this is a mono-white staple for Commander. Oh my god, this is anti-green propaganda right here, and I'm a green player, so I do know what it means. And then it has, oh my god, that's adorable flavor text. Admit one, enjoy the race. That's literal. It's probably the only thing it says, and it says that in the most monotone way possible. Admit one, enjoy the race. I love this derpy guy. Oh my god. Let's move on to the Walking Sarcophagus. And its max speed is this creature gets +1/+2, so it becomes a 3/3. But you need to have maximum speed. Definitely too slow. Fuck no. The warrior rose in a very different world from the one he'd left behind. That explains the expression on his face. Up next, we have Wreck Remover. When this creature enters or attacks, exile up to 1 target card from a graveyard, and then you gain 1 life. And then if you don't need it, you cycle it for 2. Sadly, a bit too slow at 4 mana, unfortunately. If it were 3, I would probably be more accepting, but otherwise, definitely no. And then finally, here we are. The new name for Kaladesh, the Avishkar Raceway. It's a land, and it has max speed of tapping for 3 mana, and then you tap it, and then you discard a card, then you draw a card. You need to have max speed for it first, and then you have to pay 3 mana, so for 4 mana, essentially, you draw 1 card. A bit too slow, unfortunately. Although for Tron, they have oodles upon oodles of mana anyway, so they'll probably be the only deck that'll even consider running this thing, but even then, I don't even know if they will. So there is that. And then stage 1, the winding street of Giraper. So definitely something to keep in mind for Tron players in particular, but I don't even know if we'll see play there. And then for the dual land cycle at the common slot, we have the gain lands here. Bloodfell Caves, Blossoming Sands, Dismal Backwater, featuring art from the various planes, I believe, in that are going to be passed through, or these are things that are exclusive like to Aetherdrift itself, because they will be passing through a Vishkar, so there is that. And then they'll also be passing through some places in Angmanket, as seen here in Dismal Backwater. Although, we do have another new land here in Night Market. It understep, and then you choose a color, and then you add 1 mana of the chosen color. And then if you don't need it, you cycle it for 3. Ooh, that is... Holy shit, I can actually consider this for my Gitrog monster deck. Because if I don't need it, I can just, draw 2 cards. Hey! Then we have the other gain lands here, and then, of course, the beautiful, beautiful basic lands from Aetherdrift. And, yeah, that is it for my Pauper set review, and I got a lot of aneurysms for a lot of the stuff that affinity decks are gonna get, because this is an artifact-centric set after all, so there will definitely be a lot of support for artifacts, and as sad as it is to hear, it's inevitable. Oh my god, but I'm not too confident that a lot of stuff in this set is going to see long-term play. There will be experimentation here and there, but I am not too sure. I mean, Grim Bobble is probably the only one that will see significantly more play than everything else, but I have been surprised before by seeing stuff that I didn't even expect would see play, and there are a lot of players who are far smarter than I am. So definitely keep that in mind as you watch my Pauper set reviews. That's going to be it, and if you guys like what you saw, hit like, comment, subscribe, and share this among your friends. And until next time, start your engines!